listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
All right, so I thought I would give a number. If you remember, I was planning to read 50 books this year.
Oh, yeah.
My quest. I have not... Things have not gone to plan, so I just...
Are you close?
It depends on how you look at it. So I'm on number 36.
Okay. That's not bad.
I mean, I still have... I guess 5-6 weeks left.
I think you can do it.
You think so? You think
the question is, do you want to do it?
Yeah,
you're gonna have to spend a lot of time reading.
Yeah, just to get to the 50. I mean, I'll be happy. I mean, if I'm at like 40 or 45, I'm not going to complain. I mean, I still think that's good, and I'll try again for 50. And I know where I stumbled. I know what went wrong. I wasn't reading as much as I should have.
Yeah, it felt like, because you usually recommend the book that you're reading, and it feels like you haven't, like you took a break in the summer.
I did,
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah, so I'm back again. The book I recommended last week, I finished. And
Great.
So now I'm on to a new one. So, hopefully, by the time, few more weeks, I'll get close to it anyway. So
that's good. I mean, I always have like a few different audiobooks on the go so that like I can have like I can just bounce in and out of things sometimes. And I'm bouncing in and out of Jessica Simpson's biography right now, and Samantha Irby's first collection of essays. And it's very different.
Is there any overlap?
No, not so far. But, well, I mean, you know what? Wait, I'm not going to lie. No, both of them talk about addiction in different ways.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, there is some overlap, but obviously wildly different lives. But yeah, do you do audiobooks? I can't remember.
I have not. I should. I do podcasts when I'm walking, so I guess I could do an audiobook.
You could easily like crank through several books while you're walking to work because you walk all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could. I don't know how much more I can do, though,
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, how much are you going to treat this as like a thing that you just have to buckle down and finish?
No. But like, I mean, like in the same way that podcasts bring you like a lot of pleasure, obviously reading also brings you a lot of pleasure.
Yes.
But you've attached this sort of like number to it, right? So it like has a numerical pressure as well. But if you fold in audio once in a while, and especially if it's like read by the author themselves, it can be so nice to just
then that's a whole new app I have to get is Audible. Is that right?
Well, you can get Audible or you can get other apps as well.
You could go to the library too.
Get the library one. It's Libby, and you can take everything out for free, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Or just read a bunch of short books.
Pamphlets.
Yes. The library actually does have different short audible fiction as well. Like,
I thought you were going to
sort
say
of like
pamphlets.
snackable short, and not even like novellas, like even shorter than novellas.
Shorter than novellas?
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Like if I have to start panicking at the end, maybe, I don't know. I think Margaret's going to hit 50 because she just finished 40 this week.
Okay, yeah.
So
she's always ahead of you, though.
She's always ahead.
Always.
I know. I wish I had the.
This happened last year
spirit.
too.
Yes, exactly. I wish I had the competitive spirit. I don't really, and she's very much like, yes, I'm doing this, and I'm like, okay, you do it. But yeah, so I think she'll make it.
But if you like, I'm gonna like jump on audiobooks again for a second. Like, if you like, say for example, Lindy West's book, S-Word, actually, her collection of like movie essay or movie reviews and stuff like that. Like her reading it is so fun, and you would like laugh so much on your way to work, and also get super angry.
Just to clarify, are you an investor in Audible?
I am not an investor in Audible, but I do get my grandma a ton of books through the library app Libby, and I do have an Audible membership for myself. And so I listened to S Word actually on the Audible app, but I know that they have it at the library as well.
You convinced me. I'll give it a try.
It's just fun, and I didn't think that it would be for me necessarily, but like I don't know, I listened to one like I don't know 5 years ago maybe, and I was like, oh, this is great because I can actually read more because I'm always I want to be doing stuff like I love podcasts as well, but sometimes I just want to like be reading a book, and I have to physically do something, and this allows me to do it.
I'm in.
You sound so jazzed about it too.
Well,
To be fair,
I want to hit my 50, so I could be walking and listening to one book, and then I could be
You could be reading another book
one.
at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very difficult, friends. I don't want to encourage you getting into some kind of terrible pedestrian accident because you're trying to make your brain do two things at once that are so different. But
Yeah, I think I'll be all right though.
you can do it.
Yeah,
but
I
if you
can
don't,
do it.
if you don't do it, that's fine too. Whatever.
Yes, whatever.
You love reading. Who
I
cares?
do love reading. I am a young French girl, and I can do whatever I want.
Oh man, I have to say the outfits. I thought like I was like, oh, Lisa, like this isn't like these are not exactly the French outfits that Lisa loves, but like they're still like obviously just the innate Frenchness of this film. Lisa must be in heaven. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And tonight this is Pop This. Sorry, I totally forgot about that part. Oh boy, this is Pop This. Tonight we're talking about Amélie, and it's the 20th anniversary this year.
That seems crazy.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's one of those like want to feel old moments.
Yeah. I think it's because every time I watch the movie, and I have seen it many, many times, it's because it straddles some kind of undetermined time that I kind of, it doesn't, I don't watch it and it feels dated. So I kind of felt that it was sort of timeless in some weird way and didn't really imagine it was 20 years ago.
Well, it's weird though, because it does have the very specific hook of Princess Diana dying, which we just did Spencer last week.
So weird when I saw that.
So weird. And yet you're right. There is an absolutely like a timeless quality to it. And obviously I think probably because of like the stylized elements of the filmmaking, but it's also just like the rich saturation in color. And I don't know about you guys, but like understand, like watching it now, 20 years after the fact, like maybe the last time I saw it was 15 years ago. But like, with our current understanding, like our current enriched understanding, which is still not great, but like, of neurodiversity and like seeing how this film represents so many different aspects of neurodiversity. Like I was just like, this movie is 20 years ahead of its time. Like,
Right. Yeah.
amazing.
It
Amazing. Anyway.
is. I agree. I think I've always found it a very, very sad movie and really liked it for that reason. But watching it again, definitely I was noticing a lot more with Amélie for sure.
Yeah. Well, before we get too far in, let's do a little background, a little synopsis. I'm happy to read the background. Amélie is a 2001 romantic comedy film directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, written by Jeunet and Guillaume Laurent. The film is a whimsical depiction of contemporary Parisian life set in Montmartre and stars Audrey Tautou in the title role. So obviously lots of critical acclaim, praise for Audrey Tautou's performance, cinematography, production design. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Foreign Language Film and Best Original Screenplay. It was a commercial success, and it's the highest grossing French language film to date in the U.S.
That's fascinating. I did not know that. And I will read the synopsis then. Amélie follows the titular character, Amélie Poulain, on her journey to bring the people around her more joy into their lives after the discovery of a box hidden in the walls of her apartment and the happiness it brought to its owner upon its return. Up until that point, her life had been rather dreary, having been restricted to her house during the majority of her childhood and her mother dying in a rather disturbing and unexpected fashion during her teens. But she decides to flip that upon the death of Princess Diana and the discovery of the box. As she begins to work towards helping those around her find happiness, she connects with neighbors she has never spoken with before, bonds more with co-workers, and even finds a possible love interest for herself.
So I was delighted to spend time with this film. And I have to say, it is a dramatic turn from when I first watched it. I liked it enough, but I actually didn't like it that much when I first watched it 20 years ago. I was frequently frustrated by Amélie herself as a character. And I think truly, I was wondering whether or not I was still going to feel that way in 2021. But I realized I think I was just I had a little bit of hardness around my heart back in 2001. And why I could not feel the full extent of this film's joy and sadness. I remember being kind of a little bit angry at it back in 2001.
Oh, I think I've just always loved it from the first moment I saw it. And I continue to watch it all the time. I have the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing.
It's amazing. I listen to it all the time. I think about it all the time.
Really?
I do. Absolutely. Yeah, I do.
Wow.
About the small little moments, like putting her hands inside those lentils.
Oh man, I was like, oh no, don't do that.
Why?
It's like publicly sold food.
Yeah, you go home and wash it.
Hands in it.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
care. I want your skin flakes in it.
You would wash the lentils when you brought them home, though, wouldn't you?
No. Dry?
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't cook lentils. I don't know.
Oh, I cook lentils, and I always wash them first in the strainer. So
Because of Amélie.
because of
No,
that.
okay. So, AG, what was your experience of the film?
I've never seen it before.
Oh,
And-
wow.
Because I knew I would hate it. And so I started watching it, and I was like, who has time for this whimsy? And I pressed stop. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. I wanted to.
Oh, you hated it.
I mean, I'm not it's obviously it's a good piece of filmmaking. It's, the cinematography and the editing and etc. The hair bob.
I cannot
All of it is
believe-
amazing.
Sorry.
But I just do not have time for that story.
Wow. I cannot believe that you found something to enjoy about Spencer, but that you hate Amélie.
Yeah, I'm absolutely shocked as well.
I am just like, what am I watching? I don't even. What's the point of this?
Wow. Because I know all the
don't
criticisms of it, people thinking it's twee and, not a very accurate depiction of Paris. It's, but I love it for being a very dark fantasy. I think it's very sad. We see all these really lonely people, but at the same time, I find it's charming enough to not really depress me too much.
I thought it was a story about this woman who is on a journey to find a boyfriend, and she gaslights a bunch of people along the way.
So this is so fascinating because I think that in 2001, I was where AG was at in watching the film. And in 2021, I'm where Lisa's at now. And what a wild role reversal this is. Oh my gosh, you guys.
I never went on any journey.
experiences
I've
here.
stayed.
I
This
love
is
it.
just me going back on vacation in the same place.
This is great. This is amazing. So like, okay. Gosh, I'm sorry. It's going to really sit with me for like a second and a half here. But like, okay, let's try and make some sense of this. AG,
Yes.
what was the thing that you liked most about the film?
I this, the set decoration was very vivid and lovely.
You're right. It's absolutely like it's gorgeous.
The
Everything looks
cinematography.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Lisa, I would like to have this room. I would like all the rooms to look like. I want my apartment. I want to remake my apartment in all of these rooms.
I would too. I mean, this is the same reason I like Wes Anderson movies, though.
Yes.
I love all the attention to detail. I love all the little tiny boxes of things. I love her style. I love the. I just.
But you're a total minimalist. You have no boxes of things.
I have a shelf with things. There is one shelf in the house that has things on it. I have a box. Look, I have it here. I'll even look. What's this?
As podcasting is a visual medium, look at her box. Oh my God, that is a tiny. Oh my God, you have a tiny box just like the one she found in her wall.
Uh-huh.
Did someone give that to you, full of your childhood memories?
Yeah, this is my childhood cigarette box. I was a big smoker as a child. And
I could believe that.
hardcore player's Navy cut. There wasn't anything menthol about me. I went straight for the strongest type of tobacco that, a kid can, illegally buy. So, and I liked my cigarettes in a tin. I didn't like them in a carton,
No, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So no, I love little antique tins and things like that. I do. But I also thought her dressing style was actually very minimalist.
Yeah, it's quirky, but it's more functional than like couture,
Like, what isn't?
No, but like I mean, she's got those sort of like dock loafers or not loafers, but like the dock sort of like low ankled.
Well, she's dressed like someone in the 90s, in 1997. Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the velvet jacket with the sort of cinching at the back and like the skirt, and I honestly love the sort of folded down black ankle socks with those shoes all the time. That really pleased me quite a bit.
And the haircut. The
haircut is stunning.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how many women must have gone out and got that so disappointed after? Like, if you don't have a face like an angel, that haircut's not going to really go. And there were probably a lot of women that were walking in going, give me the Amélie, and the salon was like,
Have you thought about that?
Have you really thought about that?
Well, and especially because what I really like about that cut for her is that she doesn't seem to have just sort of stick straight hair. Like she has some like wave and bounce, and so it's flipping up at the ends frequently, or when she uses like bobby pins and barrettes to like push it back, or she like had that beautiful headscarf at one point. Like it's a very chic look, even if it is pretty minimalist. Yeah. So the gaslighting is interesting because I've thought about that a lot over the years as well. And what I found myself enjoying this time is I really enjoy Amélie's quest for vengeance. I like her as an avenging sort of observer. She is sort of always removed from sort of like scenes of like actual like community and friendship, but she decides from the time of being a little girl that she will get her revenge on people who cause her emotional and mental distraught and possibly physical distraught. And when she toys with that man by unplugging the his television feed every time someone's about to score a goal, I took so much pleasure in that. And I was like, I understand I'm petty, but like this gives me so much pleasure, especially like when it's a man who like takes delight in tormenting a small young girl. And I also, I mean, you know, usually I'm not as vengeance based as this, but because of the like fantastical element of the film, the way she messes with the very cruel, awful grocery owner, I loved it.
I really love that attention to detail, the follow through, the real, you know, long game that she plays.
When she was intervening though in the tobaccoist, like the woman who works the tobacco stand in the restaurant, it feels like she just transferred a stalkery boyfriend onto that woman.
Yeah, that one I definitely think doesn't age well, and that one's like a mistake. Like that's a sort of like, I mean, you know, it worked temporarily, but what she can't contend with and what is hard to, and doesn't survive well in the 20 years between when this movie came out and when it exists right now, is that guy who is a angry misogynistic stalker is an angry violent man. So, but we know that now. Like back, I feel like 20 years ago, we were just like sort of expected to kind of find him unthreatening and just like, isn't it funny how angry he is? But I feel like this is sort of the version of progress, is that we're able to identify that his threatening behavior is not at all funny.
I disagree with that. I think like 20 years ago, like I would have felt like if someone I worked with had a man that was coming into her restaurant every day and sitting there and stalking her and like being kind of threatening, I would not be like, oh, that's normal.
No,
like he should be someone else's boyfriend in this restaurant instead.
No, I'm not saying that like it's normal, but I feel like it's only in the last like 10 years that we've started to really like point out that it's not okay to like joke about drugging people in their drinks, right? Like, I mean, it's been a passage of time where the social norms of certain behaviors, it used to be sort of like considered, the Lloyd Dobler, when he shows up with the, you know, the boombox under the window or whatever. It's like these aggressive acts by men are meant to be sort of like construed as charming. And obviously that's not really the case here. Like this is just a frankly flat out mistake that Amélie makes. Like she doesn't think about the consequences of what it really means to sort of like you know, mess with people's lives until she sees how spectacularly it sort of falls apart.
Right. I also feel like the garden gnome thing with her dad is just kind of like, it's mean, like he's old.
I mean, you know, sure, he is old, but he has, I feel they do a fairly good job of setting up how checked out of his life he is and how he has basically been sort of dead since his wife died. Like when she tests him about whether he's listening to her and she's talking about how she had like, I don't know, an abortion and a bunch of other stuff happen. And he's like, oh, that's nice. Like, I mean, the gnome is the first thing that really like wakes him up from this stupor that he's been in for 20 years.
Yeah. I just like, no, my parents are old too. And I know that like sort of someone stole some of their gardening, like a statue from the garden. It would be, they wouldn't be woken up. They would in that they'd be really angry and write a letter about it to the local newspaper about like property crime.
Okay, but what if it was a charming French girl?
That's the thing. Like what? Like I mean, it's a garden gnome that is like obviously going on adventures. Like it's like a long, weird hostage negotiation because he never knows like when he's gonna get another photo. He doesn't know how it's going to get back. The thing that I think that they gloss over each time is that his wife hated this gnome and he is now erecting it permanently into her like resting place. That's weird. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's not respectful.
Like, what if, like, I mean, if yeah, I just like, I don't know. If I had a garden and I was buried in the backyard and Carlos is like, you know what? I know she always hated googly eyes, but I love them. So I'm going to put them on her tombstone. I would be very angry.
Wow, are you planning to have a tombstone, by the way?
No, I'm not.
With a face on it.
Yeah.
I'm just with a googly eye face on it. Yeah.
I'd love to see that, though.
You know that I come, like, periodically just find googly eyes all over the apartment, and Carlos, like, sees how long it takes me to realize they're there, right? Like,
Wow.
that is
That's
my
a fun
home
game.
life. Yeah, what a fun game. Anyway, I mean, it's kind of hilarious, but it's also, like, every once in a while I'm just like, I'm deeply unobservant because he'll be like, yeah, I put those googly eyes there like 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
I was
wow.
waiting to see when you would figure it out. I was like, damn it. Anyway, but all I'm saying is like, sorry, I don't feel bad for the man either. The old man, her father either, because like, I feel like he needed a bit of a wake me up. And I don't know why his gnome going on vacation in, again, a prolonged one-sided hostage negotiation spurs him to leave his home with, to go on a trip. But Amélie seems to know that it will work. I don't know how or why, but...
She's the powerful Amélie. She has a lot of time for scheming. And
she has a rich interior life is what they call that.
Yeah, it's way more energy and time than I would ever have to put something together. Like the letter writing where she dyes the paper and
yeah.
I mean,
I felt like that was not, I didn't like that either.
Oh, I love that. That woman gets to have that kind of nice feeling for her whole life.
But it's a lie?
So what? Oh my gosh. The whole film's a lie. We're going to pick that? Like the whole story is ridiculous. That does not look like Paris. Nobody looks like that, really. And now we're just going to pick that one bit apart where she gives this woman a happy rest of her life? Nah.
I just hit my head on my own bookcase because I threw my head back so hard laughing.
I'm sorry, I just don't like it.
I like one of the things that I sort of really enjoyed is the parallels that they create in the film between the elderly man with the glass bones and Amélie. And I love that these two watchers, who are both sort of like trapped inside for reasons that are, wildly different, and not just trapped inside their homes, but like sort of trapped inside their own headspaces, and find it difficult to sort of make connections with people. I love how they sort of find each other and jostle each other into sort of different forms of connection. And that's something I don't think I made a lot of space for back in 2001. And I don't know, I was really moved by that. And just thinking about, just thinking about how this building, like you said, Lisa, is just full of sort of like kind of lonely, messy people who are really, really desperate for
caricatures.
Well, caricatures, yes, but like that's again the fantastical element of this movie, right? Like I'm not necessarily watching this thinking like
it's an accurate depiction.
This is the nonfiction Paris I was looking for.
Yeah.
The fantastical element is there, like from like the beginning, and it sort of, I mean, her bed lamp talks to her, for God's sakes, like it's just, there's these like kind of strange moments that she can always feel like her, her glowing heart, or she can like a key glows or whatever. Like there's all these different little elements throughout. So I guess I have like, I don't know, a little bit more patience for the surrealness of it.
Me as well. Or moi aussi. I will exhaust all of my French in this entire episode. So
I can't wait to see where it goes then, because I feel like you probably also know the dirty words.
Merde. I think.
Yeah, that's the only one I can. I guess
the
the
only
tabernacle. Anyway.
Yeah. Which doesn't really translate into English.
I always tease my grandma that I'll know her senility is really setting in when she starts speaking in French, because that's what she grew up speaking.
Really?
Exclusively till she was 5. And
so can she still speak French though?
Very little.
Oh.
Very little. But this is how I keep a senility watch on grandma.
Oh boy.
So it's good check-in for both of us periodically. Anyway.
Oh my. That took another dark turn.
This movie is full of dark turns, which is also something I love so much.
And I do love that it has a happy ending too, though.
Yeah, honestly, orgasm's great.
Yeah.
Love it to end with an orgasm, and honestly, just like
is that how it ends?
Yeah.
Oh, I somehow forgot that already.
Well, they have.
Aren't they like riding on a bike somewhere?
Well, yeah, okay, that's how it properly ends, but like that's like a stand-in for, just like she's able to sort of find someone who she wants to touch and who wants to touch her after growing up with this like sort of lifetime of, the absence of sort of like a tactile closeness with anyone. Like, when they're talking about when she's a kid and she wishes that like her dad would hug her and he doesn't. It's like the only closeness that they have. The only time he touches her is during her monthly medical exam. And it makes him think she has a heart murmur. So then her
heart speeds up. She's so happy.
I mean, again, it's like it's very fantastical and cute and sad all at the same time. I like that. I like the combination of that. So one of the things I was watching, so when I first saw this movie, I saw it in the movie theater with my best friend, Julia. We had met on the first day of university. And on that same day of first day of university, Princess Diana died. And so when we watched this film, we were just like, oh, wow.
Wow.
Like, and then, so she came over last night to watch it as well. And so we were all watching it together. But I remember it was a bit of a sticking point, I think, between us back in 2001, is that she loved this movie. And I was just like, meh. And, I'm not one to hold back my opinion. So I probably eviscerated it. And, just not even really being entirely aware of the amount that she loved it. Anyway, and then later on, I met Carlos, and it's one of his favorite films as well. And I was just like, okay. Anyway, and I remember I watched it one more time with him, I think, and I was like, yeah, still not my thing. Like, I like it. Like, I get, like, there's obviously parts of it that I like a lot. If The Royal Tenenbaums is one of your favorite films, you can't, I think, help but sort of like enjoy Amélie to a certain extent. But last night watching it, I was honestly like, it just really, I don't know, it just hit me in all my feelings in a very different way. And I think it is part of like that thing that I was mentioning earlier, is just about understanding the movie as like being so much more about sort of like textures and sounds and colors and just sort of like understanding this movie through like sort of more of like a neurodiverse lens. And I know that, those are things that sort of experiences of people that I love a lot, like some spectrum stuff for Carlos and Julia and a bunch of people I know and love. And Julia was telling me about this podcast episode. It's called Autism Through Cinema podcast. And the episode just came out like last week, I think. And it's an episode about Amélie and director Jean-Pierre Jeunet. And I'm just going to tell you a little. So we take the whimsical streets of Paris. For Jean-Pierre Jeunet's cult classic Amélie, brought to us by a very special guest, autistic film journalist Lillian Crawford. We take great pleasure in revisiting Amélie from an autistic perspective, finding neurodivergent expression in the heightened audio and visual richness of Jeunet's film. Amélie herself is a character who uses various autistic techniques to figure out the people she meets by using objects and wordplay rather than direct communication to reach her understandings. And they also raise, like, obviously, like, the very valid concerns about the film's like adherence to heteronormativity, the lack of non-white characters, and a sanitized version of like a picture perfect Paris. But I'm really excited to check out this episode of this podcast because I personally was like really aware of it while watching it, but I'd love to especially hear through the lens of an autistic film critic, her appreciation for the film. I just think it's like super fascinating.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Agreed. Let me know.
I'm really
I mean, I totally appreciate what you're saying, and I'll link to that podcast in our show notes. But part of what you were saying about how it sort of depicts a Paris that is like there's no non-white characters in the film, and that kind of thing, that really bothered me. And like I was reading this article on Film Comment by Frederic Bonnaud, and he was talking about like how dangerous it is in a way for movies to keep exporting this version of France to the world. Yeah. Because that becomes what people think of when they think of Paris. And that's a lie.
And that's probably like very much sort of like cemented in this vision of Paris that is, very, I mean, it's such a racist place for like so many like people who live in Paris. Like I remember like just when I visited Paris, God, it was like a long time ago. I remember just like people warning me from like away from sort of like more ethnic neighborhoods, and it was just revolting. Like the level of like, now I understand obviously Canada, lots of white supremacy happening, lots of racism problems happening. It's really terrible. Paris has, I did not know, and I think probably based on like the films that I often see of like what depicts Paris, I did not understand the huge problem of racism and anti-Islamophobia and our anti-Muslim like treatment and just so many things going on.
Well, it's interesting that this film came out in the same year as Moulin Rouge, because it kind of like both films kind of depict this fairy tale version of Paris. And both films were like wildly successful around the world. And both films arguably are the films most people think of when they think of French films or films about France.
I have to say being eclipsed by Lupin, because I devoured those two series, the two seasons. And I think I read that it was, Netflix is always topping itself. So perhaps Squid Game now has surpassed Lupin, but it was their most successful project to date.
I hope so. Like, I hope
it had
like
a real. Did either of you watch Lupin?
Yes.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, so it has a similar kind of fictionalized Paris, didn't you find, in a way?
Yeah, except there were people of color.
No, that's the difference I was saying.
Yeah.
But that's what I was saying. Jump ahead 20 years, like you were saying, right? And that definitely fills out. But there's still that sense of wanting to create this magical Paris.
Yeah. Yeah, Lupin is, to me, it was definitely more modern. It showed a more modern Paris. And I like watching that version of Paris, and I hope I'll keep watching seasons of Lupin when it comes out.
Oh yeah, me too. I love that show. I should just watch it again.
Tell me, sorry, I know that we're supposed to be talking about Amélie, but like, what is Lupin about?
Well, it's got two ideas, I guess you'd say. There's a man who is a kind of cat burglar, and he's influenced by a series of books about the detective, he's a thief, Lupin. So they're like very famous in France, and they're like a kind of Sherlock Holmes notoriety. And so our Lupin character wants to right the wrongs that were done to his father, and he takes up this life of crime to try and expose the man that brought him down. So it's very grand, and Lupin I'm sorry, I can't remember the actor's name right now, but is this larger than life, and he is larger than life, sexy, smart, sweet, charismatic, all these things. It makes me laugh when he does disguises because I'm like,
Omar
like-
Sy.
yeah, Omar Sy, yeah, and he's incredible. But the show has a real old school charm to it. And yeah, it's just a delight.
Yeah, I think, have we recommended it before?
I don't remember it.
I
don't remember it being recommended.
Yeah.
Really? Well,
I mean,
I'm
maybe it
sorry.
has, but I don't remember it. No, that's exciting. That's really, yeah, because I mean, obviously, like one of the most significant glaring aspects of this is absolutely how whitewashed it is and how it, it is. I think it can very easily unfold as like a film utterly devoted to white nonsense on many levels. Which is often, Wes Anderson's films as well. There's a
crossover. There's a
crossover, absolutely. And that's the other thing is just like, do these films have to have all white cast? No, that's a choice that the filmmakers are making, the casting agents are making. Like, they have chosen this, and it sucks, because it didn't. I don't know. It didn't have to be that way. And I don't know. It's harder to sort of like. I don't know. It's harder to sort of like. You can't reconcile that. You have to call it out and then still find and make space to like actually name those things in addition to what you appreciate about it, because otherwise it's just kind of like a level of complicity that we don't need to support in 2021. I was thinking about how Chungking Express and when we watched that and how we talked about oh my gosh, the girl in the cop, like the
Faye Wong.
And how, do you remember us doing like the Chungking Express episode? And just like I think I remember actually like complaining about Amélie in that.
That wasn't so long ago either.
It wasn't that long ago. It was, well, I hadn't seen it in a long time. But yeah, just about like how much like Faye Wong's character in that sort of informs Amélie, and how even like the visual style is, very much informs Amélie, and the relationship sort of there that exists, but how both of these characters sort of predate the coining of the term manic pixie dream girl. Because I don't think that term happened until 2003 or 2004. Both of those characters fit that relatively well.
Yeah, absolutely.
2005.
2005, wow.
Coined by film critic Nathan Rabin, who coined the term after observing Kirsten Dunst's character in Elizabethtown.
Yeah, but I think it could have applied also, obviously, to Garden State's Natalie Portman character.
Yeah.
Just the quirky girl that wears a helmet because she has seizures. Do you remember that? I think Garden State might be one of those films that's worth returning to at some point down the road.
I think you're right about that. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Because like, God knows I loved the soundtrack, but I don't think it would have aged well at all.
No, it seems like the whole premise of it will be so
There's
upsetting.
a lot of things I remember very clearly at the time thinking weren't good then.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, we'll just file that away for next year or the year after. When
our loins are girded enough to watch it.
So some of the dark twists that I know shouldn't have been that funny, but I laughed loudly for like a good, 30 seconds. Was the mom getting killed by the woman who was taking her own life? I know that it's not funny in the way, and even just saying it out loud makes it sound like I am a terrible, terrible human being. but just the way that it was filmed and just the suddenness of it and the sound effects. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think for a film that gets accused of being too cute and twee, there's a lot of really, really sad, heartbreaking moments in this.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about the time she turns into water and just squishes into the floor. Which
is
so sad. And, you know?
I've been there. I've honestly, like, where you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to, it
just turned to liquid.
Yeah.
Obviously, Andrea, they're very moved by this.
Well, I mean, the movie acknowledges that she is too in love with her own idea of saviorism. Like, I think the movie does call her on it a little bit here and there. And I think actually, like, it's supposed to, like, the backfiring of the relationship between the angry man and the tobaccoist is supposed to be sort of like eye-opening to Amélie. I don't think it plays out as much in the film as it should, but like I think we're supposed to sort of, you know, when she has that sequence where she imagines that she is basically like a better version of Mother Teresa, which we all understand now is not hard, but like in that movie, in the context of that movie, it's you know, it's quite a sequence, and she's just like really just feeling herself as to like how she's gonna like come in like a little twee god and change the lives of everyone she knows. But I think her like intentions are really good.
Yeah, I would if I was going through her story, put a question mark next to every deed that she's doing. Like, is this good? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Like,
is it elaborate? Yes.
I don't know, like, what she does with the visually impaired man walking down the street is...
That actually was one where I was just like, no, you're not. I don't know that you're helping him. I mean, it's nice that you gave him
left him in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, she just left him at the top of a staircase. Because
big question mark.
Yeah.
Big question mark there.
But I think these are the moments where, like, the filmmaker doesn't quite... I guess like her punishment is her brief moment where she thinks that this possible love of her life is actually going off with the woman at the cafe who has a series of different men in her life. And I think that that's supposed to be her, like, the price she's paying for her, like, convoluted interferences. But yeah, I don't know that it really plays out quite the way that she doesn't really learn a lesson necessarily.
No.
Except that I guess the old man has also had his own long play in effect as well. Because he, like, the candle in her bedroom and the video that she watches, and like somehow he's involved. He's got his own sort of component to like get Nino up to her room. Anyway, I don't know. Also, honestly, any scene where people are having like a long dialogue while someone is just like putting price stickers on dildos, I love. That is so vintage 2001, and that was my life for like, not like specifically sticker pricing dildos, but like it was just like so related to sort of my time in chat lines that I really, that very relatable moment for me.
Wow. Not really anywhere to go after that, is there?
Yeah. You might be, like, out of the millions of people who've watched this film, like, you might be the only one to pick out that specific aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the most relatable part.
I know at least 5 people who, I didn't say the most, I said a relatable moment for me. A relatable
Can't say that.
moment.
Cannot say that. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course. So this popped for me more than I thought it would.
Oh, big pops. Oh, pop, pop, pop. However you say it in French. Le pop, le pop, le pop.
I mean, do you like whimsical movies where, you're told you will learn something, like a girl will learn that she's special And, you know, like,
Turns out, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out very much. Yeah.
that's basically the gist of the film.
Yeah.
Then yeah, you'll probably like this. If you're not into whimsy, avoid this like the plague.
I do have to say that 2 hours is a long time. 2 hours and 2 minutes is a long time.
So you wanted it to be like 145 of
Well,
whimsy?
I think 90 minutes would have been
Oh,
quite
wow.
fine. Well, I'm
That's
just
a
saying.
substantial edit, dude.
Well, it is, but there's not a tremendous
lot could have
story
been
in
cut
it. Yeah, a
off,
lot of
yeah.
it could have been cut. We could have.
Wow.
Anyway, I don't hate it. I'm just saying.
I could have seen her gaslight like 3 fewer people in this movie,
Yeah,
and
there
it
you
would have been
go.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know what kind of whimsy you like. Gothic
Yeah.
Spencer whimsy.
Indeed.
I love that these movies ended up being back to back. I will never get over this coincidence that we did not plan this, and honestly, I could not be happier.
I just did not get over my bitter disappointment that it didn't like steer into the Princess Diana like fatal crash and like be about like her investigating it or something. Like I thought that's what it was going to be about, because they bring it up.
Could not
and then
be less about that.
And then they just skate by it. It's not even part of the story.
Oh my god! Wow.
Why dangle that in front of us and not have it mean anything in the story?
Honestly, actually, great question. Don't know.
Yeah.
Other than it being some kind of catalyst for, embracing life.
Don't know, don't care. That's how I answer that.
All right, we love to leave our episodes on something.
That's basically my review of this movie.
This has made me so happy. Okay, we love to leave our episodes on something we recommend. In the rarest of moments, I've decided I would like to go first, if that's okay with the two of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with the 10-minute version of Taylor Swift's All Too Well. I love this song on every level. I would like to personally recommend not the short film, oddly enough, of the song, which is actually 15 minutes, if you want to know. I would recommend the live version that Taylor does on Saturday Night Live. It is a fantastic performance. I really love it so much. And I will tell you the two best lyrical moments, I think, potentially of the year. And what is so great about this song is it is an epic update to an original that is like 10 years old now. And so this is a woman writing from the vantage point of 13 years later. She has this chance to update this song and just really give it the moment that it needs. It is a song that is allegedly about her brief relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal. And one of the lines is sorry, yes?
Do you think in the casting she was just like, do your best Jake Gyllenhaal for me?
Absolutely. And he does. But the reason I'm recommending not the short film, but the actual SNL performance is because I just think that you can watch the short film play out behind her, but it's Taylor's performance of these very specific moments in the song that are like really important. So first there's this line, and there we are again when nobody had to know. You kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath. My God. Devastated. Particularly if you've ever been the secret in that equation. It's not fun. Not a fun feeling. But also, how satisfying is it to then, like, as she moves through the song, she gets to this point, and this is, like, the performance of this on SNL is so great. She's, like, staring into the camera and spitting out this line. I was never good at telling jokes, but the punchline goes, I'll get older, but your lovers stay my age.
Oh.
God, so good, you guys. And the way that she just delivers this line with mustering that sort of, that feeling of contempt you have when you realize that 13 years ago you were in a relationship with someone who was much older than you. And at first you thought that made you special, but then you realize it's just like their pattern. Oh, God, what a great moment for Taylor. Thrilled for her, thrilled for us.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
Yes.
So good.
Holy cow. All right. I'll go next then. And yes, as you pointed out, my next book that I'm reading, book number 36, is by Zakiya Dalila Harris, The Other Black Girl, which is a thriller. And also, okay, it says that it is, this is the funniest, wildest, deepest, most thought-provoking ride of a book. There you go.
Wow.
So I think I'm riveting, fearless, and vividly original. I really don't know that much, and I didn't want to know that much. It was recommended to me and lent to me. So I am in only 12 pages. So probably my review will be a bit better next week.
What if you really don't like it?
But the first 12 pages have been great. Well, it has a lot of very fine reviews on it. Phoebe Robinson. The Other Black Girl is unlike anything I've ever read before. Wholly original, powerful, and a gripping page-turner. This is the kind of book that turns authors into stars and readers into rabid fans.
Wow. Well, that's nice. Great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check that out.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to recommend season 2 of The Great.
Oh.
You've already got through the whole thing?
I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Oh.
It's super funny. Again, it's for those of you who don't know, it's about Catherine the Great, who has a coup to take become the Empress of Russia, and she becomes one of the greatest leaders of Russia. And it's she's played by Elle Fanning, and Nicholas Hoult plays her husband. And this season, Gillian Anderson makes an appearance as her mother. So
Cool.
Very excellent.
We should there's a bunch of TV that we wanted to do this year that we've run out of time. And so we're going to end up having to probably do it in like January and February of next year, which is fine. Like the Emmy nominations will come out and stuff. But like we've talked about wanting to talk about Reservation Dogs. We've talked about wanting to do sort of. We've mentioned Catherine the Great. And I know there's a few other shows that we've talked about that like we should definitely sort of have maybe like a bit of a TV run in the new year.
Good plan.
Well, yeah, it's perfect for watching over the holidays.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm ready.
well, this has been a lot of fun, friends. I love it when we all have like 3 such like epic sort of points of view. And I hope that everyone enjoyed listening to this as much as we enjoyed recording it, or at least I did. Anyway,
And getting to watch it again.
And yeah, and AG watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice for me.
You know
too.
what? No matter what you ever have to watch, it won't be Xanadu. Which is still up there with the worst thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
I might rather watch Xanadu
What?
again than
Oh my gosh. Not me.
I mean, I'd rather watch
I
Xanadu
didn't-
than Spencer. So
I didn't think I'd say that.
I didn't think I could. No, I'd
Ever.
rather watch Spencer than I would Xanadu.
wow.
Xanadu
okay.
is literally the worst movie I've ever seen. I've got to
We've
say.
all got our measurements, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone, let us know when you F, Mary, kill Xanadu, Spencer, and Amélie.
Wow, that's quite a game.
Quite a game. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. You can hang out with us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You could rate and review us 5 stars on iTunes, and stream us on Spotify, etc., etc.
Thank you so much for listening. Andrea Gin is our co-host and the producer of this podcast, and we appreciate you stopping by like we're sitting in a diner, just sitting down, pulling up
That
a
would be
coffee in a section of the table and just putting your elbows down and hunkering in. So thanks so much for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.